And I want us to watch, and we're going to read it later, but Daniel 9:24. And then we're going to go back to here for a second on the Son of David. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city. Now that's going to be key. If you've got a Bible, look where it says people and the holy city. So this Daniel 70 weeks is not just to the people. Now who is the people? Who's the people? Who was Daniel's people?
Jews.
The Jews, not Gentiles, Jews. All right? And what was the holy city? Jerusalem. So it's talking about the Jews and Jerusalem. This 70 weeks of Daniel, the restoration of Israel, has two parts. Daniel's people, the Jews, and the city. It's not even to Daniel, because later on in chapter 12, God says, Daniel, rest with your people. In other words, you know, knowledge will increase and all these things, and it's going to be at the end time. Because look, watch this right here. Let's see. Let's go back. Verse 21. Now Daniel's praying, and Gabriel comes to him when? At the time of the evening oblation. So in the evening time is when this revelation is to be made known. Alright? Gabriel comes in the evening time to Daniel and tells him, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city. So that's two things. To finish the transgression, make an end of sin, make reconciliation for iniquity, bring in everlasting righteousness, seal up division and prophecy, and anoint the most holy. Now that's six things. Sixfold purpose of Gabriel's visit to Daniel. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem, there's your city, unto the Messiah the Prince, who is that? Jesus Christ, shall be 7 weeks, there's one period, and 62 weeks. Now what is 62 in the Bible? 60 is 60. 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So that's 62 weeks. Got it? Everybody got that? Say amen, because this is going to be the base of the whole thing. 7 weeks and 62 weeks. What does that add up to? 69 weeks. Everybody got that? 69, not 70. 69 weeks. Alright? The streets shall be built again, and the walls even in troublous times. And after 62 weeks, after that 62-week period, shall Messiah be cut off. Jesus was crucified. Alright? But not for himself. Who was it for? The people. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city. Now who is that prince? That's Titus. In AD 70 he will come and destroy the city and the sanctuary. He tore everything apart. That's why that Israel is trying their best to go back to temple worship. But Titus took the menorah. He took all those things that were supposed to be set up, the original ones, and took them to where? The Vatican.
Right.
Alright? Took them to the Vatican. That's why Israel's going to make a pact with the Vatican to get all these things back so that they can start their temple worship. This is very simple, and it's happening right now.
That's right.
And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with the flood, and to the end of the war desolation is determined. Now if there's 69 weeks, and the Messiah gets cut off, how many more weeks is left to make 70?
1.
And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. Now who's that he? That's not Jesus Christ, because this person breaks a covenant. Alright? So this must be the Antichrist. It's not a capital H, it's a little h. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for a half a week. Oh, it says 1 week. And in the midst of the week, what is the middle of 7?
3.5.
3.5. 3.5 plus 3.5 is 7. In the middle of the week, in other words, after the prophets have prophesied 1260 days, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. In other words, the man of sin then enters in the temple and said, you got to worship me. No more temple worship, you got to worship me, because that's the man of sin. That's the Antichrist, the Pope.
Right.
Because he's going to cause the sacrifice and oblation as offering to cease. And for the overspring abomination he shall make it desolate, even to the consummation. So this is going all the way to the consummation. And that determined shall be poured out upon the desolate. So you got a 7-week period. A 62-week period makes 69. Then you've got a 1-week period. So I'm telling you, the Bible doesn't say there's a half week left after the rapture. It says 1 week.
Right.
That's where Brother Brown got it, out of the Bible. He can't change the Bible. All right? We're going to read some quotes. It sounds like that he's changing the Bible, but he's not. He's speaking because, remember, many times Brother Brown will tell us Scripture has a compound meaning.
That's right.
Because really, people, that's not to us. There is not, from 25 to 27, speaking nothing of Gentiles. All right? Nothing. Speaks nothing of Gentiles. This is all to Jews, natural Jews. See, we spiritualize it. Because it took 70 weeks for redemption. It took 6-fold purpose to get them redeemed. It takes 6 seals to give us redemption. All right? So that's a long way down the road. So the redemption of Israel, but it can't be just of Israel. Why do they think so much of that little place called the Mosque of Omar? That's where the temple, original temple, was built. And Jesus said in Matthew, when you see the abomination, in other words, the Mosque of Omar, now how in the world, unless it was the providence of God, how in the world would the Jews allow the Muslims to come in and put a mosque right on the city grounds? It had to be the providence of God, knowing that that thing's got to be destroyed. That's the abomination. Right there. All right? The Jews hate that. It's like Mom and Dad were there, back in the 90s. And up under there, they're trying to dig far enough. Them Jews are trying to get so close to get back to temple worship. We Gentiles don't need temple worship. We know God's already come, but they're trying to get back temple worship so that Elijah and the Messiah can come. Alright?
Right.
So this is all to the Jews, but it has implications to you and I. Because the Messiah did not get cut off for himself. What? He was cut off for all of us. Died for every person, Jew and Gentile. Alright? So there's your basic of Daniel's 70 weeks. But now remember, 2 things. People and city. People and city. You have to separate them. Once you separate them, you can understand Daniel's 70 weeks a lot better. But the son of David is heir to the throne. Alright, now the son of David is not now. Remember, this is the son of God dispensation. This is the son of man dispensation just for a little while to give us a body change and take us out of here. Alright? Then he goes immediately as the son of David. Actually, he goes to the Son of God to preach through the 2 prophets. But when they realize who he was, who Jesus was, we're going to read that next Sunday. We'll go back into Ezekiel and places where they recognize who he is and they weep and they cry. Because they know the Messiah is supposed to come and Elijah's supposed to come first. Remember, I did that series on the 5 cups of Elijah. They literally, every year, they set a cup down for Elijah at their meal. They go outside and look and see if he's come. If he hadn't come, they shut the doors and next year. In other words, in their language, they say until next year. Well, see, the Elijah that we know, Brother Branham, the 4th coming of Elijah, has already come, preached the message, and he's gone. Well, they are looking for Elijah. You say, well, they're off. No, they're not off. Remember, the 5th coming of Elijah is the spirit of Elijah to the Jews. So he is coming before the Messiah comes.
That's true.
Him and Moses. Absolutely. See, you say, well, they're just far off. They're not far off. They're closer than we are, really, as far as literally knowing that something's got to happen. But the Bible's going to tell them, you missed him. This was who he was. So you know what they do? What do? They go into their homes, they cry, they weep, and all that. Now that we're going to die. Remember what Brother Branham used about Joseph. When Joseph revealed himself to his brethren, they said, oh, now we're going to get killed and these things are going to happen and all these bad things. And Joseph said, no, it was done to preserve life. I'm not mad at you. Jesus is not going to be mad at them when he comes as the son of David. He's not going to be mad at them when he comes to take them out of here. Right? He's not mad at the Jews. He's the one that blinded them.
Right.
So that we could come in. The Gentile bride. He looked at us and wanted, he knew, you know what? He knew we were a bunch of renegades. I'm just going to, this is my Brother Waydale version. He knew we were a bunch of renegades. We didn't care about nothing. We had no, you know, the Jews, they've got a this day and this day and this day, and you got to do this, and you know, you wash the cups and sacrifice. You know, they had an order of everything. Gentiles don't have no order.
Right. Yep.
We're just nations, bunch of junk, happy-go-lucky, you know.
Yeah.
God knew he had to come to us first.
Yeah.
He had to get out that Gentile bride first, because if he would have took and not blinded those Jews when they said, let his blood be on us and our children, if he had not blinded them so they could say that, they would have accepted the Messiah and they would have took a rapture. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, let me just give it to you plain. It's took from Jesus to this day 2,000 years for us to get Jesus right. And we still ain't got him right yet. Amen? We're still here. Once we get him right is when we go on the rapture. When those two prophets preach, they're only going to preach 1,260 days. 3 years. They're going to accept this message that we took even 50 years to try to understand the message and still don't get it right. They're going to get the message in 3.5 years and they're going to take a rapture. So you see how their foundation, our foundation is nothing. Happy-go-lucky. You know, we're Gentiles. That's why, remember, he said, I've never seen no more faith. See, them people, the Jews, they didn't have faith unless they saw something. Give me a sign. Give me a, give me this, give me that. Gentile woman says, yeah, Lord, the dogs eat off the table. I've never seen no more faith. Centurion says, look, you're a man of authority, I'm a man of authority.
Right.
Whatever you say, that's what will happen. He said, I've not found no greater faith in Israel. Why? Because all them Israelites, Jews, are all going, well, is he the Messiah? Is he, he ain't this, and he's a devil, and he, see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The Gentiles built on faith. That's why Abraham was a Gentile. He was built on faith. Believe what God said, and that's it. Because, remember, when he was here, he was the Son of Man, right?
Right.
Well, the Syrophoenician woman, and we'll not read it because of time, but Brother Branham said that she, and in the Bible, sorry, in Matthew 15, she says, thou son of David, have mercy on me. My child is vexed with the devil and all. Brother Branham said he never even looked at her. Never paid her a bit of attention. Why? Because she had no claims on him. See?
Right.
Sister Johnny's my sister. She's my sister in the Lord. She's a very dear friend of mine. But I can't call her wife. She's not my wife.
Right.
I can't manifest myself to wife, but now I got a wife sitting here, boom, I can manifest myself as a husband because she's my wife. Same way with Jesus Christ. When he comes, that's why he couldn't come to the Gentiles and the Jews at the same time. Everybody got that?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Amen? He can't do that. He cut the Jews off so he could get a Gentile bride, but he said, I'll never forget Israel. So he goes over here and he picks Israel back up. But during the time, he never paid the woman attention. Now listen. But now, blind Bartimaeus was a Jew.
Yeah, that's right.
Jesus was walking down the street and he says, thou son of David, have mercy on me. Well, he turned. Why? He had control, or he had the manifestation of the son of David to Bartimaeus, blind Bartimaeus, right? But now the Syrophoenician woman, she didn't. She was a Gentile. She was a dog. He called her a dog.
Yes.
All right, he called her a dog, but she said, yeah, but we need the crumbs off the master's table. He said, I've never found, well, no, I'm sorry. She said, Lord. Excuse me. She said, Lord, even the dogs get the crumbs off the table. Brother Brown said, when she said, Lord, he immediately turned and manifested himself as her Lord, but not the son of David. That's why that, and most people in the message will tell you that Daniel 70 weeks is all to the Jews. Amen. That's true. But if we don't get redemption first, they don't get redemption. So knowing that they are going to be redeemed shows me that I can be redeemed.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Excuse me, because we're going to be redeemed first. Son of God, Son of Man come in flesh, Jesus Christ, Son of God through the church ages, Son of Man here in the end time, And then now he's going to go to the Jews as the Son of God, but they're going to see him as the Son of David during that time of the ministry of the two prophets. We'll get into all that. I'm trying to just lay a background for you to start thinking, wheels turning in your head.
I just wanted to let everybody know that the Daniel 70 weeks is so, it's such a big topic amongst the message. When I was in Nicaragua, it was even brought up.
Okay.
About, is it, about the week. So.
Looks like I told you that, brother. It's in the Bible, it says 1 week.
Right.
After the Messiah's cut off. Now, my Lord, when was he cut off? 80-30, when they killed him.
Right.
Then you have a time of the Gentiles. Then you got 1 more week left. Natural week. Not a ministry week. Not a tribulation week. 1 week of natural time, because that 70 weeks was a natural time. All right? Thank you. Because I got to mention this first. Daniel was in captivity. It was the 68th year of his captivity. Brother Brown said he knew in 2 more years, he read by books. We're going to read it next Sunday probably. He looked back to what? Jeremiah. God told Jeremiah there would be 70 weeks that they would be in captivity. And after that, they would go out.
That's right.
Daniel had been in captivity. Brother Brown said he went in captivity when he was about 12 years old. Here he is later on in life, and he wanted to know. That's what he was praying. God, how are we going to do this? How are we going to get out? What are we going to do when we get out of bondage? And he had 2 years left. Well, Brother Brown said Daniel was so intent on knowing that God didn't just show him what them 2 years were, he showed him all the way to the millennium. Alright? Alright, you got that? Does anybody have any questions so far on what we just said? Really, I mean, if you do, then, or something you didn't understand me saying, because we're going to go through this slow. If it takes us a year, then so what? It's going to take us a year. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to be intent and focused. You're going to have to be intent and focused that we get this right, because see, I can walk up to anybody in a crowd. I'd take 1,000 ministers in the message and I'd stand up to them, we did it before, and challenge them. Because I know what the prophet of God was saying, and I know what we got to have to place this thing just right. Because remember, if you nail it down, the people in the message don't like this book. I had somebody this morning hand me a book and says, I haven't read this book in a long time, I don't read it much. You know why? They don't understand it. Do you read something you understand? Yes. Do you read something you don't understand? Maybe once. Right? I keep that book Jim's got. I keep that one because most people have that book. It's more wore out really than this one. I put this one up. But the one Jim's got, I keep it in my briefcase with my Bible everywhere I go. And what's in my Bible is the chart. Most people don't even know the Brother Brown chart. And I have these for you to have. So now, let me tell you something about this. I want to hold this up so people can see it. Brother George Smith himself told me this was typed by Rebecca. Rebecca is the one that drew this picture during the series of the Daniel 70 weeks. Because remember, Brother Brown said, Becky, that looks like a girl. Remember he talked about the little image? He said it looked like a girl because it had a dress on.
Yeah.
All right? What Sister Rebecca did is later on after the service, she drew it out, and if you'll notice, this is old typewriter type, the one that goes click, 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 click. That was what was in the 60s.
Yes.
So this was drawn by William Branham. So this, I've seen people draw charts and charts and charts, and they never do. Why? Because they can't prove their doctrine with this chart. Cannot do it. I've seen other drawings that are not right, but I keep that baby with me all the time. And there's another one, and this was kind of strange. Brother Homer Brown, which is in Florida, right? Old brother, he's 80-something years old. Somebody asked, he was with another brother. Now his son, Brother Keith Brown, brought this to us when we were doing the Daniel 70 Week series. Alright? Somebody asked Brother Brown to draw it again about 3 or 4 days later in a restaurant. He drew it on a napkin, And they made a copy of it. And if you want to know, this is Brother Dwayne Dean. He's Spoken Word Outreach Center, drawn by Brother William Branham for a brother that was at a restaurant with Brother Branham in 1961. And it's the exact same chart as he drew here.
Wow.
Okay? So there's my confirmation that that chart's right.
Right.
And so I have both here. Take one of each and pass them. If you already have one, get another one. I made 30 of them. I thought more people would be here than they are, but that's okay.
By the way, do you have any charts of the other ones that people have drawn that are incorrect?
Well, the one in the Philippines,
Okay.
Malabo, the one that did these, he's bad off. But anyway, I'll say it online, I don't care. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. If we were one word off out of the Garden of Eden, we can't be one word off and take a body change.
That's it.
Right.
And listen, when we had our ministers meeting, I didn't do it, but I'm going to do it if they ever challenge us again. They don't believe what Brother Branham said in this book. When they brought their ideas and their thoughts, they never read a quote out of this book right here. They always read the quotes out of the church, out of the seal book, and they danced all around it. But I want to tell you something, and I'll make it plain. Brother Jeff Jenkins is the one that brought this to everybody's attention. And he said Brother Branham was wrong in Daniel's 70 Weeks series. And he didn't know what he's talking about, couldn't get his dates together. Right? Now that same devil is on them people that won't take what's in this book. Because they're denying what the prophet of God said.
Yeah.
Right? You're denying the prophet. I'm going to... Because, you know, Brother Branham said in this book 7 times that there's 1 week left after the rapture. He says, thus saith the Lord.
Right.
Was the Lord wrong? No. They say, oh, well, he corrected it in the seals. Show me where he corrected it. Show me where he said I was wrong. No, he kept going back and saying, man, this is why we had to get to the Daniel 70 week.
Right.
And sure, the people misunderstood what he said. Absolutely, because he said they misunderstood. All right, get one of each and then pass the rest of them back up. Keep those, they're yours. Write your name in it and fold it over and put it in your Daniel 70 weeks book. All right? But that to me is the drawing that the prophet of God drew during the time of the Daniel 70 week series. Okay? Now I'm not trying to belittle people. I'm just trying to tell you this church what we believe, because some people have asked, and I want you to be able not to say that Brother Dale said.
Right.
I want you to be able to say, I can show you in the Bible and I can show you in the prophet's message what the prophet of God is talking about.
Right.
Okay? Jesus said, eat my flesh, drink my blood. Jesus said many things. Somebody was questioning, talking about being a Christian. I said, okay, being a Christian. What do you think about being a Christian? Well, it's being kind and nice and good and good and all stuff. I said, okay. Christian is Christ-like, right? Be like Christ. Christ took a rope and drove a bunch of people out of a temple. Christ said one day, forsake father, mother, sister, brother, and follow me. Christ said one day, let the dead bury the dead.
Yeah.
Christ said one day, he said, you generation of vipers, you snakes, and he stood up in a minister's meeting and called them all hypocrites.
That's right.
Now boy, it's like Brother Branham said, he said, if you looked at the kind old priest and looked at Jesus, he said, you'd pick the kind old priest every time. But what happened was Christ is doing it out of love.
Right.
Yes.
Okay? So that's what I'm saying. Christ can do this out of love, that he can show us what the prophet of God was talking about in the Daniel 70 week series. Because truly, back to this before we close, the Son of David has nothing to do with the Gentiles.
Right.
The Son of David was a promise, and we'll carry it on next Sunday. The Son of David was a promise that God said that David, because he loved David so much, he said, David, your son will sit and judge the 12 tribes of Israel. Well, now sure, Solomon did it in the natural, but he had a flaw. Right? Remember at the end of Solomon's life, he got a hold of 2 women and they turned him into idolatry, and that's human. That's because he didn't have the Holy Ghost in his soul. All right? But now this one that come had the living word inside of him. That was the son of David that the Bible was talking about, right? Which was Jesus Christ. Thou son of David, have mercy on me. Bartimaeus got what he asked for. Syrophoenician woman, it wasn't time yet for her to be calling him the son of David. All right? So in the millennium, when we all come back and everything's over, the Jews have been restored, the temple has been restored, and all these things, he's going to sit, he's an heir to the throne. He is going to sit in the millennium. Remember, the millennium is not to us. June and I got married, and then we went on a honeymoon. A week or so honeymoon, right? Okay? So that's what Jesus, we marry him here, we go on a honeymoon. For 1,000 years, we're there and letting the Jews fulfill all that Old Testament. Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, all those things for the Jews. Because God said, I'll never forget you. I'll never forget the Jews. He can't forget them because they're God's people. They were God's original bride. So he's going to bestow all the things. Look at them now. They're getting killed and people hate the Jews. But one day, that 144,000 and all the Jews from all the ages are going to be in that millennium, in that temple, around that temple. And Jesus Christ is going to sit on that throne, and his bride's going to be around him, and we're going to be there for a honeymoon. There's nothing, I mean, listen people, literally they're still in time. The millennium is a time element. It's not an eternal element, it's a time element.
That's true.
Because what's going to happen is we're going to be taken away. God's going to rain fire and burn everything off again, and then the new city is going to come down where everybody's going to live for an eternity. So the millennium is a space of time. 1,000 years. Okay? But there is things that goes on that we got to get to the millennium. Let me give you this point. If the sixfold purpose are the 6 seals, remember Brother Brown says 6 seals finishes redemption, because the 7th seal is Jesus Christ. Alright? So 6 seals finishes redemption. So does the sixfold purpose finish redemption for Israel, and then they accept Christ, and we all go into the millennium. So whatever takes us in the millennium has got to take the Jews into the millennium. Alright? Got that? So just think about that and run that around in your head for the rest of the time. But the son of David is not to the Gentiles. It's only to the Jews. But the benefit we get is we've already married to this guy.
That's right.
We're married to him, right? We're his bride. Even the 144,000 is not his bride. They're eunuchs.
Yeah.
They're eunuchs. They're there to what? To minister to us. All right? To help us. And not be servants like servants. But they are like, you know, me and June, husband and wife. But Sister Trudy, she's a good friend of ours. She, you know, things we do all together. But she's not my bride. But yet she's my sister. In the Lord, she's my sister. But she can't claim me as husband. In the millennium, they can claim him as what? King David. The son of David, Jesus Christ sitting on the throne. That's their king.
Right.
But his bride is going to be us sitting around the throne. Because, see, we accepted it here now. They rejected him, and then they're going to have to be, what, give their life and all those things for that. So, anybody got any questions real quick before we go? Yes?
Didn't Brother Brown say something about if we don't understand Daniel 70 weeks, we miss...
Read the first part right here.
Right.
First part of that book, the foreword. That's exactly what he said. The reason that's so important is the placing of the seals. The placing of the plagues and the vials and the woes. It's the placing. Sure, you can get an understanding of the seals, no problem, and not understand Daniel 70 weeks. But you can't get the full revelation of what those seals are about unless you get the full revelation of what Daniel 70 weeks is about. That's what he was saying. Because look, if you can't understand the redemption of the Jews, you can't understand your full redemption.
Right.
That's why we're burying people. We don't understand the full part of redemption. I mean, let's just be honest. We don't understand the full part of redemption. And listen, we all don't, because look, this thing's getting old.
Right. Yeah.
That's what me and Brother Darrell was talking about. Jesus, God himself, got old every day. And it wasn't that he didn't understand. He was just born in this world.
Right.
Sure.
Brother Brown looked like he's 70 years old, but he was 56 years old when he died. That's my age. I'll be 56 in January. He looked like he was 70 years old. Why? Because it beat this thing up. This thing right here is what's going to have to change. The seals changes this body. Period. If it don't take a body change, you can forget about Daniel 70 weeks. But since it's already in the Bible, and it's already eternal, and somebody's already made it, then let's back up. We got to be redeemed. Body, spirit, and soul.
Wait, okay, the 144,000 is blind, and you saying there's other Jews. What other Jews?
Well, all the Jews are blinded, not just because see, the 144,000 is going to accept the message. They weren't alive when Jesus was born. It was his people, because we're going to read it next Sunday. The Jews said, let his blood be on us and our children.
Right.
So what?
Okay.
Our generation. But there's a generation that's promised, we'll read it in Revelations, that there's going to be 12,000 from each tribe brought out and given eternal life.
Right.
All right? Or given the Holy Ghost. All right, same thing. Okay? Let's go. Brother Darrell with us today. And he'll bless you so.